from his time up until our time, there has never been two copies of the Quran that are different even in one letter or one word.
Since the time of Uthman, there have never been two Qurans that were different in even one letter or one word. Jai, did he know that was a lie when he said this?
He knew it was a lie. And
100%, guys. We're not 99.9% sure. We are 100% sure he knew that was a lie when he said these words. Why? Read his book.
And these variances are memorized in specialized institutions known as the schools of the qira'at. The average Muslim is not exposed to them.
That's weird. I thought there wasn't one. I thought there wasn't one letter of difference between any two Qurans. Now you're talking about variances that are memorized in different parts.
Okay, now on this point, I just wanted to go to another thing, which is probably the most, when I put on the community page, the most asked thing, which is there was a video that was released by one of our brothers.
Did you hear what he said? So he announced that he's going to be interviewing Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, and he says, what should I ask him? He said, the most asked thing is about this. It's about Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, and what does he actually believe, and does he actually believe in the preservation of the Quran and things like that?
Some time ago, Brother Imran, and he released this big video about the leaks of some kind of email chat that you were involved in about preservation of Quran, okay? And since you were very candid on the points before with the madakhila and things, we want you to be very candid in terms of your position here. I mean, what is your position in relation to preservation of Quran? Is, for example, Hafs an Asim, riwayat Hafs an Asim, do you see it as preserved, munazzal from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do you not see that as munazzal? What's your position?
Okay, so first and foremost,
we got all that, guys? Hey, what is your position on the preservation of the Quran? What is your position on Hafs? Is that word for word what the Quran is? What's going on here? Now is the perfect opportunity for Sheikh Yasser Qadhi to clear everything up and say, yes, by golly, there's only one Quran, just like I used to say to the popular audiences, one Quran, not one letter of difference between any two Qurans in the entire planet. Now's the perfect chance for him to go ahead and explain all this.
Every single student of knowledge knows, who studies Ulum al-Quran, that the most difficult topics are ahruf and qira'at, and the concept of ahruf and the reality of ahruf, and the relationship of the Uthmanic Musaf with the ahruf, and the preservation of the ahruf. Is it 1? Is it 3? Is it 7? And the relationship of the qira'at to the ahruf. This is a topic that when you're the beginning student of knowledge, you're like, what is all of this going on here? When you go a little bit more, you learn to simply memorize what your teachers say and regurgitate it out, and you don't fully comprehend. When you do a deep dive is when things get very, very awkward and difficult. And this isn't new. This is from the time of the Sahaba.
This is from the time of the Sahaba. So, guys, lots of good stuff there. Lots of awesome good stuff. So, for one, he said, everyone knows. Like, not your average Muslim, but once you're a student of knowledge, he says, everyone knows the biggest, the most difficult issue, Qiraat, Ahruf, how this connects. You got the Ahruf that are revealed to Muhammad, but then you've got the recension of the Caliph Uthman. He burns things, but then you end up with the different Qurans later on, and people canonizing certain versions of this. And then we've got the Qurans in the world today. And he says he had those three stages right there. He said, if you're at the beginning, so student of knowledge, your regular Muslim isn't even at the beginning. They're completely ignorant of what's going on here, unless they hear it from us. But the beginning students of knowledge, they go, what is this stuff, man? What? Why? Because I've been told my entire life, perfect preservation right down to the letter. And now I'm finding out what? There are all these different Qurans and we can't even figure these things out. What's going on here, right? So that's stage one. Stage two, you just listen to your scholar who's teaching you and you just regurgitate his explanations. Oh, they're different dialects, blah, blah. You just regurgitate that nonsense. And they says you do a deep dive and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, this is bad. This is bad. These explanations don't work.
In the Sahih or the Hasan Hadith of Ubay bin Ka'b, the Hadith of the Ahruf, that when the Prophet mentioned the issue of Ahruf and that there are different Ahruf and whatnot, this is in the version of Muslim Imam Ahmad. Ubay bin Ka'b says, authentic Hadith, فَدَخَلَ فِي نَفْسِي شَكْ. In my heart, a doubt came that I hadn't had about Islam since the days of Jahiliyyah. This is not a joke, brothers and sisters. The issue of Ahruf and Qira'at.
It may be funny, but it's no joke. Hell thought of that one too.
Caused confusion to somebody whom the Prophet said, if you want to listen to the Quran directly, listen to Ubay. Ubay is not some even average Sahabi. He is the Qari of the Quran. He is the master. He is who he is. And he goes, فَدَخَلْ فِي نَفْسِي شَكْ. What is all of this stuff? And the Prophet put his hand, and then he goes, it all went away.
They're softening that, by the way.
Yeah, he hits him in the chest, right? Pop!
Yeah, it says he hit him in the chest. So imagine this guy. And there's also another. Go ahead. Yeah, go.
Bai is one of the best reciters, one of the top teachers of the Quran, except he completely rejects Uthman's Quran.
Yeah, he had some problems with Uthman. He had a couple of extra surahs in his Quran. But I mean, this is one of the reasons you can't even take Muhammad's explanation seriously. So Muhammad's, again, this occurs late in Islam, where all of a sudden you have different people reciting the Quran differently, and Muhammad saying, Allah, but they're saying, hey, I'm reciting the Quran differently from the way you're reciting it, but I heard it from Muhammad and you heard it from Muhammad. So what happened? Let's go to Muhammad. And then Muhammad saying, Allah revealed it in all these different ways. And so Ubay ibn Ka'b, who's one of the four guys Muhammad said, if you want to learn the Quran from anyone, learn it from these four guys. He's on that list of the four guys. And when Ubay ibn Ka'b hears, Allah's been revealing the Quran in different ways all these years, he says a doubt arose. And it's a kind of doubt that I did not have since the time I was an unbeliever. Yeah. Why? I mean, think about how insane it is to take Muhammad seriously at this point, right? You're telling me, Ubay ibn Ka'b, one of your four top reciters of the Quran, you're telling me you, Muhammad, have been revealing the Quran in all these different ways for all these years, and this guy didn't know anything about it until it came up before you, until it gets brought up? Hey, why are people reciting the Quran in different ways? And they all heard it from Muhammad. And then it's, don't you know, Allah has been revealing it in all these different ways all these years. And this guy never heard one word about it. And they didn't find out about this until Muhammad's really old and his memory's not what it used to be.
And the most advanced of our scholars, they're not quite fully certain how to solve all of the unanswered questions in there.
Okay, the best of their scholars cannot answer some of these unanswered questions about the connection between Qiraat and Ahruf and all this stuff. The best can't answer it. So that's why they don't want a regular Muslim to find out about this if the top scholars can't figure it out.
In a Muslim environment, there's always some respect that we have for the Quran. We should. In a Muslim environment, we'll press a little bit and then we'll say, okay, khalas, sami'na wa ata'na. And that's great, alhamdulillah. When you go to academia, they don't have that red line. And they're going to just, the famous story of the emperor with no clothes. They're going to just point out, no, that doesn't make any sense. Well, that's not true. And they'll bring issues, which I'm not going to mention explicitly, that
Can't bring them up explicitly because I don't want to cause doubts. He says they're right because they're in their sources. In other words, we believe this. And these guys come along and you go, that's not true. And they go, why are we going to believe you? You're cool. You're the kuffar. And they say, it's in your own sources. Look right there. We'll quote your sources to you. They're right. You got to hear it from this is what I keep saying. They have to hear this stuff from us because they're not going to hear this. They're not going to hear this from their leaders. And there's Yasser Qadhi agreeing with me.
And it's very clear to you and to every single very advanced student and specialist that the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say. The standard narrative does not answer some very pressing questions.
And the pressing questions was the non-Muslim academics. He says, our narrative as Muslims does not answer these questions that they have.
Okay, this is what
And he pointed out their questions, their objections are based on our sources. And they ask questions, and they point out problems with what we're saying from our own sources. He said, we know they're right. And he said, we can't answer them. That's what he's saying right here.
And
notice the parallel that we just saw the other day from Libiano, where he's talking to a Muslim, saying, why are you interacting with these guys? Saying, we got to answer these guys. These guys are causing doubts among Muslims. These guys are causing doubts among Muslims. The guy says, why are you going to talk to them? Let them go to their sheikhs. He said, you think their sheikhs can answer the Islamic dilemma? Be serious. So this is like these guys saying the same thing, Yasser Qadhi. We can't answer any of this stuff. We can't answer the things that are being brought up by Christian apologists at the popular level. And Yasser Qadhi saying the same thing about the academic level. We cannot answer these guys. Maybe there's a freaking problem with your guys' religion. Just a theory. No one can answer anything at the popular level or at the academic level. We can answer nothing. We're screwed. Okay.
One example of the kinds of things he's saying that I'm not going to bring up is that they do have recitations that come from different reciters who heard from someone. No one has ever argued that the different reciters recited lots of different versions. The reciters that they're taking it from, each one has one version. So why don't their students' recitations match? Like that is your student. You have two students and they're side by side. Some of the most important differences, like the split Sunni and Shia, come from reciters. They come from a number of reciters, but even reciters who have the same master. That destroys Islam and any pretense of like this thing that we have that we can be sure of.
But like Yasser Qadhi pointed out, this is so advanced. Like your average Muslim, this is way above their average level of understanding of what Islam is. But that's something that Hatun brought up earlier. You have one master teacher, awesome, and then he has two students, Hafs and Shu'bah. Well, guess what? The two students differ with how they recite the Quran. They have differences among them, but they're getting it from the same teacher. And so that's what Mary's pointing out, that this is one of these issues that they have a hard time answering. So some scholars say, oh, well, the teacher had two different readings and stuff. Like, no, he didn't. And so there's a tension there. But that level of understanding what you're bringing up right there, this is very hard to have a discussion. Like he's pointing out, it's very hard to have a discussion about that with Muslims because they hide this stuff from them. And it's really sad.
Just go with Hafs. Just go with Hafs or I'll punch you in the chest, man. Problem solved. Or burn everything that doesn't agree with Hafs. It's pretty simple, man. Pretty straightforward.
The Shia and Sunni are kind of doing that right now because the Shia prefer a recitation that has a variant found in the other reciter from Asim, the one that isn't Hafs, whose name I pronounce very badly. And that variant says you wipe over your socks, whereas the one that is in Hafs says you have to wash your feet. And the difference is incredible for a Muslim. If you do it wrong, your prayers are not accepted by Allah because you have not done wudu. Allah does not take invalidated wudu prayers. He's not going to do that. So this is a matter of millions of people going to hell because of this difference.
Then go do that wudu that you do.
Well, didn't you bring this up this is on your video the other day, David. Mohammed Hijab was bringing this up and he said they're debating about what type of socks they're allowed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what socks, man? Your child is going to become an apostate. Like that. Yeah. That's what he was talking about. One of the issues was Muslims are debating about, like, this sounds really trivial and insane to Christians to think about, but Islam is a legalistic religion. You have to do everything to the letter, otherwise it's not accepted. You might go to hell because you messed up on one little thing. It's very legalistic. So it sounds stupid, like, okay, who cares if you wash your feet or you wipe your feet? And what's even the difference? But there are differences between those two things. And if you do it one way, according to some scholars, you're not going to be pure and you might go to hell. The other way, you do it and you might not be pure, you're going to go to hell. So Mohammed Hijab was using that example. He was saying, you guys are debating about what socks to wear. What socks? Your child's becoming an apostate. And that was from the famous clip of Mohammed Hijab admitting that, 24% and all that stuff is happening in the Muslim world.
It's also based off like how you urinate, right? I mean, if you urinate the wrong way, then you have a lot of suffering in the grave. It really just kind of depends on if you're doing anything the right or wrong way. You're just going to suffer. Basically, no matter what you do, you're going to suffer. Question is just how much. So Islam's very legalistic, but I think Yasser Qadhi is helpful because the number of Muslims I've spoken to over the last couple of months, one of them was a Muslim. Now he's not a Muslim anymore. He's a Christian as of like 2 weeks ago. But turns out, right? It's incredible. I just had to ask him about like why Allah would want to create, and that kind of helped a lot. But Yasser Qadhi is really helpful when he's not talking to a Christian audience because now you actually have him being somewhat honest. And this is before people even get into the issues of like the aruf being the Quran, right? It's like there's 7 aruf and each aruf is the Quran, but there's only one Quran, but they're also all 7 Qurans, which are truly eternal. And so it gets worse and worse the more that you get all of our modern day arguments against Islam. I really don't know what's left for Islam. What is there left to defend?
No. What's left for Islam is complete, utter, total destruction. That's it. But I have to say, David S., if you want an extremely legalistic religion that tells you how to go to the bathroom, you're in luck.
Come on.
That's what I did.
Holy moly. That's bad.
All right, let's check some of this out. Let's see.
Something all of us that are in academia fully acknowledge. We actually have a list, by the way. I am involved with a group of people, 15 of them, which is especially all of us are Muslims, to follow Quran, Qira'at, experts, and academic minded as well. Not everybody's Qira'at expert, but all of us are basically practicing living Muslims. We have a group that is discussing amongst itself these issues.
And then stuff got leaked.
One of them, I'll just mention this, that the Yaqeen paper on Qira'at is one of our group members as well. And you can log on to Yaqeen and he has a paper on Qira'at and whatnot. And that's one interpretation that does a great service, but it doesn't answer all the questions. My point being that this issue of Ahruf and Qira'at has troubled the Ummah from the very beginning of time.
Yes, guys, think about what he was just saying there, right? Like, hey, there's 15 of us. We're really working hard on being able to answer these questions that currently we can't answer. 14 centuries of Muslim scholars cannot answer this, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Don't worry. We're working on it right now. And he's about to say, guys, hey, this has been troubling Islam for 14 centuries, and we still haven't figured it out. So, but check this out.
Nothing new. And there are 15 opinions about this. None of them fully answer all of the questions that are raised. Some of them answer more than others. So the issues of the relationship.
We've got 15 explanations. None of them work.
Okay, so this right here, what he's about to say right now, the relationship, this is what he's talking about. Like you said, we took him and like a very like basic kind of like, okay, he's like, that's a given. What we were talking about was a given. But what he's talking about is more specific. And this is what he's about to say right now. The relationship right here that he's about to bring up is the issue that he says no Muslims have. He said 15 opinions, actually closer to 40 opinions. And he even said that his colleague who authored that article on Yaqeen, actually, he said, doesn't answer all the questions. So no matter what they do, they come together, all these years of research, all these PhDs later, whatever else, they still can't answer these questions. But this is it right here.
Let's see.
Issues of the relationship, of the origins, of the ikhtilaf and all of this should only be discussed amongst those who are familiar with this science. And if you want to, and I'll be very, again, open-minded here, I did a class last semester with the Islamic State of America on Ulum al-Quran. And in that class, we took students and we introduced them. This is what ulama say, this is what Suyuti said, this is what Fulan said. And then we introduced them to the other side, and then we developed. It takes a while. I can't answer this question in a 20-minute interview.
Or at all, apparently.
Nor is it wise to do so, which is why I never brought this topic up myself. You will not find one lecture of mine about this issue. It should never be brought up in public. And I don't like these idiots, and they are idiots, wallahi, because they're the ones who caused this. In this issue, they're utter idiots who did something haram. And I don't like saying this.
He's saying these are idiots. They brought this up. We should never be talking about Qiraat and Aruf to regular people. We should just be telling them perfect preservation right down to the letter. We should just be lying to them. Shame on them. They've done something haram by bringing these issues that we can't answer. And for 14 centuries of our scholars have not been able to answer, but we're still working on it. We're not supposed to bring this up until we can actually answer it. And shame on this guy for bringing this up. You should have just kept lying like I do. This is crazy.
These idiots, and they are idiots, wallahi, because they're the ones who caused this. In this issue, they're utter idiots who did something haram. I don't like saying this. This is not something you discuss amongst the masses, ya akhi. It's not wise. You don't understand Qira'at. Let it be. It's wise. That's why I never did it. And that's why even when they accused me, I didn't defend myself, because I would rather people have doubt about me than the Quran. Let them throw me off the manhaj. No problem. Believe in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what is happening in the last few years, it's not me anymore. It's the Western academics. These problems are now becoming mainstream. Twitter has so many accounts of Quran experts and non-Muslims that just say things.
Have more room on the couch.
Are you guys just chatting back there? What's going on? Hey, if you guys are chatting, you want to mute your microphone for once?
I'm sorry, we thought we were muted.
Oh, you thought wrong. And if you're wrong about that, what else are you wrong about? You guys are basically the Yasser Qadis of Christian apologetics.
Hey.
Well, one thing that's super interesting about this whole, only 15 of us can deal with this, and we're still not really able to deal with this, is it reminds me a lot of what we just, I'm hoping you guys are hearing me because it is being a little bit glitchy, but it reminds me of what we just saw exposed by the Orthodox Muslim, because he was saying about how, you think your local, sheikh or imam can deal with the Islamic law. They can't. It's like, guys, this seems like a pretty deal if your top dudes can't deal with this. Mm-hmm. And as we see, if he's one of the top dudes and he can't deal with this, and Muhammad, the top dude, and he couldn't deal with this, and Allah is the top dude and he couldn't deal with this, we got bigger problems.
Yeah, so we've seen none of the Dawah guys, none of them can give a real, genuine, correct answer to the Islamic dilemma. They're working on it, right? They're working on it, just like Sheikh Yasser Qadhi and his 14 buddies are working on a response to the academics. Well, in other words, you guys are failing at both levels and you just can't answer this stuff. So you are, as the French say, les screwed, apparently. Let's see.
I think he's about to mention Shadi Nasser, and he's about to say, he's one of the academics that publish on this. Mm-hmm. And he's right, he is. And anyone who's interested on this topic about the differences in the different Qur'ans or the canonization, where do we get started? How do we, he has 2 books now out on this, about the canonization of the Qur'an and the way that the Qur'an has come to us from Muhammad till today, the differences that are there. His work on this is really, really, really really fundamental to understanding like all of these topics, and he lays it out. So he's about to actually mention him, but guess what? Shadi Nasser, he destroys Islam in that. He's not like, his intention is not to destroy Islam, but that's what he does. So I don't know. It's like Yasser Qadhi is about to introduce somebody who, it's like, I don't know, like David's like, hey, everyone go buy Bart Ehrman and read Bart Ehrman. That's not going to tear apart your faith because you learn what all the scholars say. But I'm just saying, it's like he's advertising somebody who's going to destroy, but it amounts to destroying the religion, which is not an equivalent to Bart Ehrman because he doesn't destroy Christianity. But it's like, I don't know what he's doing here. He's not really helping.
Shadi Nasser was brought up soon after we brought 26 Qurans to Speaker's Corner. There was a conference in South Africa. Speaker's Corner Muslim missionaries were in that conference, and then they were asking again and again the question we were asking at Speaker's Corner. Umar and Hisham are from the same tribe, and they are adult males. Why Allah is revealing the Quran in different versions to those like same tribe, adult and male people stuff? And in that video, Dr. Yassin Dutan is simply warning people about Shadi Nasser's work and encouraging people to just like ignore him. I met him. He's like awesome. He's really, really awesome guy. Also, I just want to point out something from Yasser Qadhi. All he said, very basic takeaway is, when Muslim says this is problematic, we don't want to talk about it. Anyone who is Christian, breathing out and breathing in, all you need to do is, you need to hold these two Qurans in your bags and then go to the Muslims and then ask them question. When they say, we don't want to talk about it, you've got to push it. When they say, we don't want to talk about it, you've got to push it until they seriously expose all those lies. And then when their foundation kind of shaking down, Quran is the place of Quran in Islam is the foundation of Islam. Once their foundation is shaking down, what else they have? Muhammad is not going to hold that much, right? So my takeaway from this clip of this part of Yasser Qadhi's clip is like, make sure in my handbag I've got a couple of Qurans. I am walking around with them.
That's a good idea. All right, let's see.
Books written, brilliant.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, as far as the foundation goes, I think this is another crossover that we've seen recently. We actually, Thaddeus and Eric and I just got off a stream right before we jumped on this with IP, and we were reviewing a debate that God Logic did with Dr. Nasser, and Dr. Nasser trying to score, goodie points and clip farm had asked if God Logic worshipped a rock, because he was referencing the fact that our God is our firm foundation. He is our rock. And I think it's very interesting when we compare the two things between Islam and Christianity. We see that in Christianity, we truly do have a reliable, firm foundation in the Lord Jesus Christ. In Islam, when you see all these things that the standard Islamic narrative has, when you see the Quran has holes in it, when you see Muhammad's revelations have holes in them, when you see that what Allah has revealed is so horribly inconsistent that you can't possibly follow every part of it without going against other parts of it, there really is a big difference. We do not worship the same God, and praise God that in Christianity we do have a solid rock, unlike in Islam.
Back to Sheikh Yasser.
At least a book by Shadi Nasser. Again, read that book as well. For those that are interested in stuff. And
do it.
You'll understand that, hey, we need ulama who believe in the Quran to defend the Quran. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, ubashirukum that our group.
Let me ask you one question to try and make this as specific as possible, I think.
Do it.
If I were to give you a blank musaf,
hold up. This should be the easiest question in the universe to answer if these guys are right about anything. If your average Muslim is right about anything, if Mohammed Hijab is right about anything, this should be the easiest question in the universe to answer. Let's see how he answers.
Alhamdulillah, ubashirukum that our group.
Let me ask you one question to try and make this as specific as possible, I think. If I were to give you a blank mushaf, and tell you to write what is munazzal verbatim from Allah into that mushaf with no human interference, would you write something?
Jai, just translate what he just said.
Okay.
So blank mushaf.
Basically like a blank.
Yes, you can't translate this.
Just some paper, guys. Just some paper. If I were to give you a bunch of blank paper.
Yeah. And then he says, well, if I asked you, what is munazzal? What's inspired? What's sent down from Allah? What would you write in that blank piece of paper, basically? What would you write?
And he's basically asking, okay, so you've said we can't answer some of these pressing questions about the Qiraat and the Ahruf and how they're connected and what's going on here. We can't answer these things. But at the end of the day, if I gave you a bunch of paper and a pen, could you put down what was revealed by Allah to Muhammad? Could you give us that? That's going to answer everything for us, guys. That's what he's saying. Watch.
It should be an easy answer.
Yeah, should be easy.
It should be an easy answer.
And tell you to write what is munazzal verbatim from Allah into that mushaf with no human interference. Would you write something which corresponds?
It's not an easy answer. It's not an easy yes or no. It is enough for the Muslim to believe that
I think this should be an easy yes or no, though.
I love that. It should be an easy yes or no. Dude, guys, think about what he asked. Could you write what was revealed to Muhammad as the Quran? It's not an easy yes or no. What do you mean? What do you mean?
And
if you say yes, then we know we're kind of on a firm foundation, according to you, that you could actually write what was revealed by Allah to Muhammad that we are supposed to have. You could write it. If you say it's not an easy answer, then you're not convinced you could do it. You're not convinced you could put down what the word of Allah is. How well do you think how well do you think your case for preservation of the Quran is going if you don't even think you could put down what the Quran is? You can't do it.
He should.
And just for the record,
okay, perfect.
Just for the record, he's inviting him here to clear up. He's not pressing.
He's trying to help him. He's trying to help. He's like, you're sounding like you're doubting all this stuff. Let me go ahead and give you a softball, so you could just say yes,
exactly.
And then we'll know. Even if and then we'll clip this. We'll clip you saying yes. It's so easy. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy.
So there's a bunch of people that are questioning your views. I'm going to give you a bunch of easy yes or no. Like, can you write down exactly what the word of God is? Yeah, of course I can. But he doesn't do that. So he's not actually trying to like press him or be hard on him or anything like that. But what he is doing is he's setting him up for this viral moment right now that we're about to see.
Oh yeah, and hang on.
Not only that.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Say it, man.
Yeah. So not only that, he made it as easy as possible by saying something that corresponds. He didn't even say like word for word or anything.
Right.
He was trying to make it as easy as absolutely possible. And Yasser cuts him off. Stop! I can't answer.
Yeah. And then here you had a comment. Didn't he say he memorized it when he was younger? Yeah, he says he memorized it as a teenager, and he still can't. He still can't even get it. He still doesn't even think he can get it right.
I thought people might actually. That's a good connection you guys made with that, because so I was really confused when I saw this too. What his actual views are, but now because he references here that he actually is working on something. Like he was talking about how he's 15 colleagues and stuff like that, but later on he mentions that he's working on a paper for expressing what his views are, or like telling people, okay, this is where I stand on the issue. Well, that book has since been published. It was published like last year or the year before, and so now that I actually understand what his view is, I'm able to like see, okay, this is where he's coming from here. So when he said he was able to memorize the Quran, his view of the Quran is Muhammad was given something from Allah, and it was a particular set of words that he was given. The ahruf, he takes the ahruf to mean that Muhammad gave permission to people to say synonyms or to add in words as long as it doesn't like contradict what he said. So in other words, so now you can kind of see where he's coming from. He's saying like, I memorized Hafs. Yes, I memorized the Quran, but is that exactly how Muhammad would have said the Quran? I don't know, because he believes that Muhammad gave people permission to say things in different ways. So in other words, this is not exactly how Muhammad said it, but he gave permission for them to say it in those ways. So that's why this is such a hard question for him, because he needs to kind of like work out kind of like do like textual criticism and work out, okay, what's the extra thing here? What's the permission that Muhammad gave? Is this one of those words that he permitted people to say, or is this something he actually said? So that's what's going on in his head when he's answering these questions, which isn't clear from the interview, but now his views are published. You can kind of make sense of it a little bit better.
But that's terrifying, right? Because even if you take his more nuanced approach, I'm going to put that in very clear air quotes, even if you take that more nuanced approach, doesn't that mean that there's like no epistemic access to the words of Allah at all? Like you cannot
That's
know.
what he's going to get into. That's what he's going to get into.
Like, that's insane, right? Because then the whole point is that the argument is that Muhammad is the prophet, the final prophet, and the seal of the prophets, right? He's the final revelation, or final individual through whom Allah has given revelation to humanity, and is supposed to be, at least according to modern Islamic narratives, he's supposed to have this furqan above the other scriptures, even though the Torah is a furqan as well, but ignore that for now. Like, if that's the case, that this is supposed to be the furqan, but you don't know what it is, so you don't know what it's actually guarding or protecting, then we really can just say the original Quran was actually just a Trinitarian theological treatise in which Muhammad actually did believe in the Trinity, and he did recognize the divinity of Jesus, and there's no way to know, right? Because even if you try to do textual criticism, a lot of these, I mean, I've read through Hatun's stuff before that she sent to me a couple years years ago on like the different versions and the different Arabic. These straight up just contradict on multiple cases. So it's hard to do textual criticism when the text of the Quran contradicts between the different Arabic versions.
So he's limiting himself to like the canonical readings, like what Ibn would have given you. So he's not saying that there's something outside of the readings that we have today. But what he's saying is, just as an example, like there's the famous one in chapter 1 verses 4, is Allah the king or the owner? Is it Malik or Malik? He would say that Allah revealed one of those two words, and then Muhammad would have just given people permission to say the other word. So when he says to him, what did Allah reveal? Could you write that down? That's why he's saying he says a hard time, because he doesn't know which of those two words he revealed. He just knows one of them was revealed and the other one was just permitted to say. And that's his view. That's his actual view on the topic.
What do you think are the odds that him and his little band of 14 buddies are going to figure out the answer to those questions?
It'll be like the Jesus seminar where they like vote on like they'll be like
yeah, they just be voting or something, and they decide it based on by democracy and stuff. So yeah, this is wild stuff.